and I don't want to sound depressing here because that's not generally the vibe we go to, but there was a big Gallup poll that came out in this last week that shows that the sentiment for pride in the United States is not awesome. And there's a specific group that is doing a lot of that not awesomeness. They tend to be libs, they tend to have blue hair, and for some reason are a lot of times overweight, but we don't need to talk about that. Specifically, let's bring our panelists in, which we're going to have a great time. Jamie Michelle is the founder of Gays Against Groomers, and Jacqueline Harn is the chair for the Georgia Young Republicans. Guys, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate you taking the time.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. So before we get your comment, I want your reaction to this. This is CNN going over this poll. Well, we'll play the video and get your reaction after this. Watch this.
I'm looking into whether or not Americans feel proud to be an American. In 2015, look at this. 4 out of 5 Democrats were extremely or very proud to be an American. That number has plummeted to just 36% now in 2025. Only 24% of Generation Z Democrats are extremely or very proud to be an American. That is actually lower, Erica. That is lower than the percentage who say they have little or no pride to be an American at 32%. Well, this is where the trend line gets interesting, because with Republicans, there is no trend line. In fact, take a look here. Republicans' pride to be an American, extremely or very proud. In 2015, it was 90% back when Barack Obama was serving his second term. Now in Donald Trump's second term, it's basically the same percentage, 92%.
Jamie, I think we slowed down that that's no trend lines. Yeah, Republicans or conservatives overall say, like, yeah, America is a good idea. This is a good place. You know, maybe we disagree with the policies of the administration, and that's fine. You can poll that specific way that people think. But at the same time, you're proud to be an American regardless. Unfortunately, though, that's not how the libs take it. What do you think is causing the disastrous downfall of pride in being American? I probably know your answer, but your thoughts.
Yeah, well, you know, I think it basically always comes down to how they're raised and what they're taught. From a very young age, this generation, Gen Z, have been brought up to hate America. You know, more than ever, teachers have been replaced by activists. And I think that, you know, the results of that are starting to foment in a big way. Like, these people are becoming adults now that have gone through this indoctrination their whole lives. And they're told and taught from a young age that America is the bad guy. You know, we're guilty of the greatest sins, and no other country has ever done anything bad. And it's like, you know, I think it's all catching up, and they're just very resentful. And I have always thought, like, if you don't like it here, which is the greatest country on earth, I am happy to sponsor flights, one-way flights to the Middle East, to Gaza. I've always felt like, put your money where your mouth is. You know, they always say America's the worst, but they never leave.
Yeah, that's what you're saying is that America hating teachers are teaching kids to hate America, and therefore we're getting the result of that. I feel like somebody should defund any sort of department that puts into that. Maybe, I don't know, the Department of Education. I don't know if that's on
That'd
the top
be good.
block.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Jacqueline, so you're immersed in young conservatives there in Georgia. Is there, being a swing state? Well, hopefully not, but in the past couple of years, more of a swing state than I think we'd like to see it. What's your kind of sentiment on the ground there of people being proud to be an American?
That's the funny part about it is you hit right on the head. Like, we have teachers in colleges that are teaching this crap. And not even that, going to younger, this is not something that's just magically happened over the last 5 or 6 years, right? The TV shows that younger kids are watching, even in like first grade, second grade, middle school, it's already starting that miniature indoctrination where they are going to college with these ideals. And then they have teachers saying, oh yeah, actually, ideally, socialism would be great here, but no, America doesn't do that. They think socialism's cool. And it's such a problem where, yeah, again, like, if you don't like it, then don't stay here. However, they know that, and they enjoy what actually America and the United States does provide for them. I think actually down deep, they know they can't get that anywhere else. And so they're not going to leave. But no, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just these young Democrats. I mean, it's insane. You don't see that on a young Republican side at all. Even during Democrat presidency, we're still proud to be an American.
Yeah, because we understand that America is the best place to live. Both of you guys kind of hinted on the, hey, if you don't like it here, leave. Which I don't know if you guys know this. That is bigoted and probably racist, unless of course we're all Mexican in Mexico, because there are protests going on there that are hilarious. Like somebody cue the Alanis Morissette "It Isn't an Ironic" song, because there is a protest going on in Mexico City. If you haven't heard about it, people haven't heard about it, where people in Mexico City are saying we are tired of the foreigners. They're not learning our language. They're trying to change our culture to be unrecognizable. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Jamie, I guess considering the protests that we saw, riots that we saw over the last month, of saying like, yeah, come here, learn the language. We like immigrants, but you need to learn the language, adapt to the culture, and be assimilated to the customs of this country. I don't know. Is the irony too much for anybody else, or is it just me?
Okay, I got to be completely honest. When I first saw this story, I thought that it was a Babylon Bee headline and that was the source of all of this. I'm like, there's no way this is actually happening in Mexico right now. Like, it can't actually be true that these people are demanding all the things that, conservatives and patriotic Americans and just any American with half a brain is saying. Like, it turns out that isn't a bigoted way of thinking. It's just common sense. Like, a country has borders, a country has a culture, and if enough people come in that don't speak that language, that don't follow the customs, that totally stomp all over anything that it means to be Mexican or Mexico, suddenly that country will no longer be Mexico. I mean, Mexico isn't just Mexico, it's Mexicans, right? And that's the same with any country. And it's outrageous that it's thought of to be a bigoted position. But I hope now, and I don't have, I hope, but I don't have much hope that leftists will open their eyes and be like, and instead of saying, oh, they're bigoted also, that maybe they have a wake-up call and think like, oh, maybe the right is onto something. But like I said, I have little hope for that.
I was going to say, I wish I were optimistic about this, but everything that I've seen online is not, oh, hey, there are a lot of similarities here because they're doing the same thing that we should be doing and kicking people out of the country that aren't adapting to the culture, aren't assimilating. But Jacqueline, everything that I've seen is like, but it's different because it's Americans and we're bad and we're going to do the whole colonization thing. And of course, none of that's true, but it doesn't seem like any light bulbs are going off in their head. What is that? What's it going to take for that to happen, if it can?
I don't think it can. I mean, it's only bad when we do it, apparently. that's what I got from this, is that's only bad whenever we do it. And that's just what's absolutely insane to me, is that I didn't believe this was real at all. But I mean, we would all be canceled over this. If I got on here and said that and somehow that ended up on Twitter, I would be canceled. I would probably be fired from my job. I would no longer be chair of the YRs because, oh my gosh, how dare she say something like that? But it's true. Again, borders are here for a reason. And just because we're trying to protect what we have and what a great country this is, doesn't make it bigoted for us to say, like, yes, actually, I want my borders here. I want to stay safe. They're allowed to say it, so why can't we? But
yeah, I mean, people. If the town that they grew up in and lived in for their entire life all of a sudden is completely different, you don't think it's okay to be mad about that? I don't quite understand the rationale there.